Live and in person with the Game Master, we have the amazing juggling magic circus act DJ Craig Lewis. Hey!
Hello.
We're sitting down because Craig is doing his first Jewish wedding. That's where I say, oy vey, which means, oh my goodness. And Craig wants to say Mazel Tov, which means congratulations. His friend who is not Jewish is marrying a young lady who is Jewish. And we're going to talk about some ideas, some questions about the timeline, some Jewish words, and some things that can help him to bring this marriage together between the two families, the two cultures, and all of that, right?
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay, excellent. So along the way, if I use a term or a Jewish word and you're like, no, I don't know what that means, let me know, because I'm Jewish, you're not, and I take for granted sometimes when I say things like Mazel Tov or oy vey, the people know what they mean, and they don't. So I want to share with you my first and best story ever, because it is almost identical to what your situation is, where your bride is Jewish and the groom is not. And I did a wedding. They flew me into Maryland to do this wedding from Arizona. And the best man is clueless because he's not Jewish and the other side is. And he asks me, what can I say that will bring this moment together during the toast? And I gave him the best word of all. I gave him the word Beshert. It's a Jewish word that means destiny. It was meant to be. All the stars and everything came into alignment for this moment, for this couple. And that is the word, if you don't share it with anybody toasting that's not Jewish, that you want to make sure that you use sometime during your emceeing of the wedding to announce that this couple is Beshert. Now, the non-Jewish people will go, what the hell is that? And the Jewish people will just melt. Ah, trust me. When I gave this word to the best man, he included it into his toast, and everybody on the bride's side just gave this sigh that we were mishpucha, which means that we're family, we're one. And coming from somebody who was Jewish, it would not have been as powerful, but because they knew that the best man was not Jewish, it was more significant. And the same is true for what you do. Your ability to understand the nuances and the things that are of a Jewish tradition will help you to bridge the gap for these two families. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I did a Jewish wedding where the in-laws on both sides were fighting. His parents didn't like her. Her parents didn't like him. It was a disaster. And on the day of the wedding, it was my responsibility to bring them together to dance and to party and to, hopefully have some semblance of a unity. And I did that. And some of the things that we're going to talk about today, I'm going to share with you to help you be equally successful.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so you mentioned that you've got this timeline that they gave you. Why don't we talk about that starting at the top, because there are some specific things that some, not all, but some Jewish events do that are very different from non-Jewish events. In other words, the order of things are different, and sometimes there's some extra activities where you're going, what does that word mean? Are you doing the ceremony?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so they may have this thing called a Huppa, which is this arch or this canopy, and it may be stationary, or they may actually have some of the bridesmaids and the groomsmen hold it up. So, okay. and you should know, because that will determine timing, the music process, and the order of things. In other words, they may need to take a moment to pick this thing up and prepare it, or it may already be there. And you want to be prepared with music as they're doing these things throughout. So, because the last thing you want is dead air. At Jewish events, dead air is deadly. I mean, worse than radio deadly. I mean, it is like the cardinal sin, although they don't have cardinals in Jewish, but you get where I'm coming from. So
Yeah.
there is this sense that there is always music playing. It's like a movie soundtrack, that the backtrack for music is always going on. You're making announcements, it has to have music. Okay, you're going to move into this next moment, there's a bed of music happening always for
Yeah.
everything that you do. Now, when dad or grandma or grandpa or whoever it is gets the microphone, then the music stops. It just slowly fades down. But as soon as they're done, music comes back on, even if it's for you to announce the next person. And it's not like, and now, da 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 da, here's so and so. I'm not talking about that. It's just, it's a bed of music, and it can be a running theme where it's the same song, or it might change mood and tempo depending on who's speaking, what the next moment is, and the next activity. And we can talk about those. And it's not necessarily Jewish music, by the way. You can use just regular instrumental, boom, bop, you know, all that generic stuff, if you will, or smooth jazz. It, again, depends on the couple and where you're going.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now you're doing the ceremony. Talk to me about your timeline.
Sure. Can I share my screen to show it to you?
Of course. Share your screen. It's open source here.
Okay. So yeah, this is the timeline that actually, this is not my planning guide. The bride just wrote this herself. So cocktail hour before ceremony. That's
okay,
not normal to me, but
that right. I knew right away. Dance and eat, music and eat all day, all night long. This is not uncommon for Jewish events. So the fact that the bar is open and that they have food going, this is definitely not a normal Christian regular wedding. It is a Jewish style event. And, and that says it right there. So go ahead.
Okay. And there's 3 separate areas. The cocktail hour is a room, the ceremony is in the synagogue, and then there's another room for reception. So the guests are all at cocktail hour. They move into ceremony. I don't actually.
That's Bedeckin.
Yeah, she said something about this, and I don't even remember what the specifics of this were, but I'm sure you know. But then ceremony, and then groom walks down, walks under Chuppa. Bride walks down, picks up mom, breaking the glass.
Okay, so let me back up here for a second, because there's a lot going on here. You've got the cocktails in one space. So you're gonna have 3 sound systems, or you're gonna move one at some point, or do you not? You are gonna have 3.
My intention is to have a board at ceremony, and then a board at reception, and then just a satellite speaker off reception at cocktail.
Okay, very good. Are you going wireless? Or you're going wired?
Probably wired.
Okay, good. I'm so pleased to hear. I'm old school about that. You know, like the old man, get off of my lawn. Put a wire on that speaker. Okay, all those DJs asking for Bluetooth. You're killing me, people.
Yeah,
it's just not
I'll
reliable.
do wireless if, like, I have done it that way, but if I have the choice to go wired, I do.
Okay. Wireless speakers are not as reliable as a wireless microphone. And even then, you can find DJs who get themselves into trouble with wireless microphones. We'll talk about that in a moment when we get to the ceremony. This moment after the cocktails, that is before the ceremony, that is the Bedeckin, that is a private moment for the bride, the groom, and their family, where they sign a document called a ketubah. So unless they've actually specifically asked you to play music during that time, I would find that interesting, because usually it's a private moment. But it looks like they've asked for old klezmer music. Are they going to do that in public?
I don't know, but that's a good question. I'm taking notes, so I can add that as a question I need to ask.
Okay, do ask, because that moment usually is done in a room, someplace else, privately. The photographer is there, and the immediate family, and nobody else.
Okay.
They'll display this document. It's a big thing. They put it on an easel. If you do any photographs that you're putting on the big screen, or snapping any pictures, are you doing anything like that visually?
No, I don't have a screen.
Okay, so never mind. Okay, we do. And we always put pictures of the ketubah on the screen. So it's
Yeah.
larger than life and everybody can see it. Okay.
Yeah.
But check with them, because again, it looks like they've got old Yiddish klezmer music in there, but I don't know what they're expecting or where they're going to do that.
Okay.
The thing that her timeline is missing is where.
Yeah.
Do I not see a where? Okay.
Yeah, there's isn't a where. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
A pretty
So
compact space from what I'm hearing. There's receptions in the middle, cocktail hours off one side, and the where the ceremony is on the other side. So it's all like all joined together pretty close.
is it all outside, or are you inside, outside, outside, inside?
All inside. It's at a synagogue.
Okay, very good. Ooh, check with the synagogue and make sure that you know what their specific rules are. This is on a Saturday
I
or a
actually,
Sunday.
let me double check this. I think it might be a Sunday. But let me double
I think
check.
it might be a Sunday if it's a synagogue,
It's
because
unusual to me that I'd be running sound at a synagogue too. Like I would expected, usually if I'm at a big church or something for a Christian wedding, the church is going to do sound.
right, but and the synagogue is not doing any sound at all.
My understanding is I'm responsible for ceremony sound. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay, do check with the synagogue just to double check and make sure what's going on.
Okay.
Because
It is a
typically
Sunday.
it is a Sunday. Well, that's in your favor, because I will explain briefly that Saturday there's no electricity in the Jewish faith.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like anything electronic, anything digital, forget it. You're not allowed, you're not supposed to use it. Now they do have bar mitzvahs that happen on Saturday, but they want you to limit what you do, and it depends on if the synagogue or the group is Orthodox or Reformed and all that stuff. But you're Sunday, so you're good to go in that respect. They've got the Bedeckin. Here's the ceremony for the breakdown. Process. See, there's your Huppa. That Chuppa is Huppa. That's how that's pronounced. You don't hear the
Okay.
C.
Huppa.
And if you want to get really Jewish, then it would be Chuppa, but you don't have to do that. If you say Huppa like hula hoop, they'll get you.
Okay.
And she's waiting. Do they have a wedding coordinator? Somebody that's going to say, okay, it's your turn to walk down the aisle? Or are they going to be looking for a musical cue that when they hear this song, that means they go? Have you coordinated that with them?
She has delegated that to her sister, but she is not in any way a wedding coordinator. So
okay, then just make sure that you coordinate with her, because there's nothing worse than playing the wrong song at the wrong time, and everybody looks up and says, oh, but I thought that was me. And I don't know what did you say something about this being in a different state? You're in Tennessee and this is
I'm in Tennessee. This is in Michigan, so it's like a 9-hour drive for me.
Okay, so are you going to be there for the rehearsal?
So there actually apparently is no rehearsal.
Okay, 9 out of 10 times when they say there's no rehearsal, A, that's a lie, and B, they actually decide to do it on the fly there at the place before the guests arrive. So if you're on site early enough, you might want to do a brief walkthrough just to make sure, and maybe even do a Zoom like this with them and play the specific songs to find out if they want it to start right away at the beginning, or if they have a particular verse, and if that happens to have words in it and it's in Hebrew, you're totally going to be lost between what's the chorus and the verse and the refrain and all that other stuff. So make sure that you have that with them so that you can get the specific timing down on the songs. Okay, and if you need to do DJ fancy, like, okay, so the song is about to end and they're not yet down the aisle and I need to loop this, you need to know where it's going to be appropriate to make the loop.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not just about the downbeat. It may also be a specific point in the song. So those are things that you want to check with them. Okay. All right. Am I overwhelming you?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Okay.
I'm pretty used to, like, I mean, the Southern weddings I do, it's not like they're simple. So,
I didn't mean to suggest that at all. And I would never say my Southern friends are simple. Okay, so the groom stands under the Huppa. Let's scroll and see what else we have.
Yeah.
Unless you have questions about this.
No, I think I have the gist of it the best I'm going to with it until I'm, until it's
okay. So before, okay, wait a minute. Where's the breaking the glass? You want to make sure that you coordinate with the rabbi or the cantor, who's ever doing the ceremony. It may be a rabbi or it may be a cantor. Cantor is usually somebody who sings, and a rabbi is more religious, like a preacher. But ultimately, what happens is sometimes they break the glass, he steps on it, everybody shouts Mazel Tov, which again means congratulations, and the rabbi is done. So you need to know that that's your cue to play the exit music, but not always. Sometimes they break the glass and then they've got a kiss and the rabbi has more to say. He's going to close with a prayer, but you won't know. So make sure that you know what is the last thing that the rabbi says before you play their exit music. All right. And then also check, I'm not looking at all the details of the ceremony, but if they have anything that relates to an exchange of flowers, somebody's reading a poem or saying a prayer, find out if they want a bed of music behind that, or is it just that person's voice? Because it makes a difference as to what the tone of this is. And as I mentioned earlier, for Jewish events, there's always music going on. There's always music. So they may be open to the idea that when Rachel comes over to read this prayer or say this thing, that all of a sudden we have this soft, soothing little thing in the background. It doesn't cover her voice, but it's filling the moment. Okay. And it again, it's like a movie that has a soundtrack and it brings the emotion to the front. It's something you want to discuss with them. Also, are they exchanging vows with one another? That is more than I do, you do, we're done, dun, 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 which by the way, you won't be playing that song. Do not play that song. The composer of that particular song was anti-Semitic and is in bad setting with Jewish events and Jewish people. But they will have something that they're going to exit to, and it looks like you've got some Vimeo or some YouTube links there. Make sure that you're not streaming this live, are you?
No, it'll all be in virtual DJ MP3s.
Okay, good. Because the last thing you want is a song that has a commercial that comes in the middle or something. And we hear these nightmares all the time from DJs who are streaming their music live, and then all of a sudden either the internet goes down and it's circling the drain, or it's got a commercial in the middle. So just be careful. Or a Rickroll. Do you know what a Rickroll is? Okay. All right. We're moving on. So now what is this thing here regarding the room and Vincent? And there's violin music. Are you playing this music? And where is this room? Is that the cocktail period?
I assume, no, cocktail hour already happened way up here before ceremony.
Okay, but they're not doing cocktails again after the ceremony? What are they doing after the ceremony? Are they going straight into the room?
So yeah, because we've got a grand entrance first dance is the next thing. So I'm pretty sure this Yehud room is reception.
Okay. Confirm. All right. There is 15 minutes or so there. Make sure that you confirm. Regarding the grand entrance, have you been through Mark Farrell's stuff?
I've listened to some of his audiobooks. I've never actually taken his class.
Okay, so he has this really big thing about how you hold the microphone and how you quiet the room and get everyone's attention, and everyone is seated, and now you make this announcement and you have everyone's full attention.
Yeah.
Are you ready? That is not happening for a Jewish event. I'm going to pre-warn you right now. It is not happening. Jewish people they're notoriously loud. They continue to talk, and you just need to roll like a steamroller and just keep going. They're either going to pay attention to you or they're not. You can, and the last thing you want to do is scream on the microphone, "Hey, everybody, pay attention." They're either going to pay attention or they're not. They're going to be eating and dancing and drinking and talking and everything all at the same time, with everything going on at the same time. And if you're going to try and get everybody to sit down like pardon the word normal, a normal regular wedding, it's not likely going to happen. Just keep going. Follow the timeline. They're going to eat when they want to eat. They're going to dance when they want to dance. They're going to drink no matter what. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've got that. You've got the introduction. Are you doing and then they go straight into their first dance. Are you doing any, okay, they have a word here, simcha, another great word. Earlier, we talked about Beshert, which was destiny. It was meant to be. Right there next to their first dance, it's their first simcha. This is a blessing. It is a joy. It is, it's like the highest point of elevation of thrill, if you will, in terms of attitude and gratitude in this moment. Okay. It would be great for you to use that word. So not just it's their first dance, but it is their first simcha dance. It will be truly powerful for you, the non-Jewish person in the room, to use this word. And by the way, because you know that half the room is Jewish and half the room is not Jewish, feel free to sound like you're the professional, that you're the authority, that you know what these words mean. Okay, we're recording this so you can go back and say, God, he told me what simcha means and I can't remember. I'll send you a copy of the recording and you'll know. Okay. All right. Very good. Then play, what is this? Shlomi. Move your mouse. Thank you. Songs first, start with the old. Okay. There's a lot going on here.
This is, their first dance is not a song, it's a playlist. So
right. And that's that this is also not uncommon for Jewish events. So where we're used to having an introduction and then they may or may not do their first dance and then we sit down and eat, or there's a prayer and we eat or something, forget it. Dancing. So, and I'm surprised that they don't have the hora here after their first dance, or are they planning on doing the hora to one or more of these songs?
So she said, I don't know if this is what you're talking about or not, but she did say, as we're going through this list here, all the men are going to circle around Vince and all the women are going to circle around her, and then they're going to come together.
Stop. Hold the presses. Very Jewish, not just kind of Jewish, not sort of Jewish, very Jewish, because you just described the men dance with the men and the ladies dance with the ladies. You need to reconfirm with them whether or not the men and women, other than the first dance couple dancing together, are actually ever going to dance together this night. It is not uncommon for the ladies to dance on one side of the room and the men to dance on the other, and never the two shall meet. And if they're really serious, there's actually a wall. It sometimes is a curtain that actually goes up so that the men don't see the women dancing and vice versa. And I know you're now looking at me like I am mushugana, which means crazy in Jewish. And I'm not. And I've done these events like this where they have, it's a hybrid where the men and the women dance together sometimes, and then sometimes it's just the women and the men. They're both dancing at the same time, but they're just not dancing together. Okay. And then other times where it's really, really strict, where the women, men are not even supposed to peek behind the curtain. And the DJ is like right down here in the middle, and the curtain's right down the middle, and you can see the guys over here and you can see the ladies over there, and the curtain's right here. Or they'll actually put the DJ behind a curtain so he can't even see them dancing, and he just has to know, take it on faith that when he plays this song, people are going to dance, because he's not allowed to watch. You bet. I know I'm scaring you, but different cultures.
She said those two groups come together. So
okay, good.
They're going to start as a circle around him, a circle around her, and then they
eventually come together. Okay, so talk to her about the fact that this is a mixed group. All the Jewish people get it. But all the non-Jewish people, they may be looking and not sure where to go or what to do. And they may be looking for you to give them some direction. Sometimes when I do mixed groups, I actually have to teach the non-Jewish people how to do the hora, because they don't have enough Jewish people to let them figure it out. Oh, we hold hands and we dance in a circle. And sometimes that's all they do is dance in a circle, and it gets real boring real fast. It's like, come on, we got to, do this, we got to do that, we got to move in, we got to move out, we got to hold our hands up, we got to walk into the center of the circle. There's some things here. So find out if she's looking for direction, and if she is, come back to me and we'll talk about some simple things you can do that can help both sides of the family understand what to do in this moment. Okay. And I'm looking at the times here. This looks like a good 20, 30 minutes of dance. Yes.
Yeah, so she's given me, I think this is actually about an hour of music, but she actually wants it to be like less than 30 minutes. So I think I need to go in and,
Do some
well, I can
editing.
either mix this live, or I was trying to decide whether I should mix it live or whether I should actually like turn this into a pre-made mix that I just hit play on.
Here's what I would suggest as you're previewing each one of these songs. Use your DJ knowledge of music to make wise choices. In other words, it might be on her list, but it slows down. Well, then we don't want that one. Okay. Or it starts slow, so we're going to skip the intro and get right to the downbeat, so that it keeps the energy in the room. And she may not have DJ skills in mind when she selected the order of these songs. And so you might have this whole up, down, up, down, up, down thing. And what you're really looking for is this smooth transition that gets you right to the peak of the moment where they boom.
Yeah.
As opposed to you're starting here up the high and then you're just wearing them down. So so take those things into consideration when you make your mix. And it's not just about beats per minute, but it's also about tempo and timbre of the song. In other words, you can have a song that's slow, but man, it's like moving, and that's okay. And then you've got these other ones that are like the beats are going here, but the singer is real. It's like, well, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
All of that in mind for this group of songs. Okay. See, she doesn't have a lot of time here. Ask her specifically once everybody is seated. Yeah, I don't see that happening. I'm looking now down here at the dinner buffet. So it's a buffet. Okay, because it's a buffet, you want to talk to her about eat and dance at the same time, whether they're going to be served first, who's inviting the tables, in which order that she wants them to go. There's some nuances here, if you will, because a lot of times with Jewish events, they're happy to stay dancing, but you got to open up the buffet. So you may open up the buffet and people are not seated, and the Jewish people are going to dance and the non-Jewish people are going to eat. And then all of a sudden the Jewish people are going to go, oh, I worked up an appetite. Let's go grab a bite. So it may not be invite the tables. It may simply be go as you like.
Yeah.
Normally when I say go as you like, we're always worried about that really long line, but it's not as much a problem at Jewish events, because they'll look at the line and they'll go, oh, let's dance. And
that
then,
sounds amazing.
But
I hate
again,
these tables, so that's great with me.
Okay, but check with her, because this may be her nod to the non-Jewish people. Okay, so we are going to sit down. And then now that, so everything up to this point has been slanted towards a Jewish event, and she's going to now do a nod to the non-Jewish people by getting everybody to sit down. And the Jewish people will go, all right, we'll sit down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think like what I had discussed with her yesterday, which maybe I need to go back and change, is that at this point we need to switch into like quiet, low energy background music in order to get everyone to sit down and eat. But maybe that's not necessary.
Only if she's really wanting everybody to sit down and eat. Yeah. Otherwise, not.
Yeah.
But the energy may drop a little bit. In other words, you could play a love song and then start to build from that love song. So those who want to eat will go, and those that want to continue to dance will continue to dance. And then do what I call segue songs, ones that start slow, like I Had the Time of My Life, and then get faster and have a break that allows you to kick into higher gear. Okay, just some thoughts. Okay. Yeah. Is this the end of her timeline? Because there's a lot more to be done.
That's it. And she did say...
Did she not talk about breaking the bread, the motzi? Or the prayer over the wine? Or the toast?
Didn't talk about anything. I do know there are... so going back into my planning guide, which of course I wrote for Southern Weddings, she pretty much left all of this blank. There's...
right. Because she's like, well, we don't do that.
Father-daughter, nothing. Mother-son, no. Cake cutting, no. Toast speeches, not that she knows of.
You know what? Then if I were you, I would be prepared.
Yeah.
Just in case, because even though it's a Jewish event, toasts, speeches, prayer over the bread, breaking of the bread, those are all really important and popular things to do at weddings.
Okay.
It's the garter, bouquet, all that other nonsense. I wouldn't worry about that for them unless she mentions it. But toast and bread, I think, are important.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm the old man again in the room, but I would definitely discuss those things, even though she didn't fill them out. Do you have any communication with the dad?
Not yet. I mean, I can.
Well, because sometimes it's a surprise thing that he wants to do for her.
Yeah. And I'm always prepared for toasts. I mean,
okay, good.
Say in a Southern wedding, they'll pop up out of nowhere. So, yeah. And she did say, so the whole thing is 4 hours long. And I think that sounds like a strict time constraint. And she said somewhere around halfway through that time period, in her words, she wants all the Jewish stuff to be done. So then we're just gonna play normal.
So we'll slip into hip hop mode. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But I can definitely ask about breaking bread and some of this. It'd be good for me to at least be familiar with it because I don't even know what you're describing right now. So,
well, Hamotzi with an H or Motzi with just an M refers to the bread. And by the way, while there is a special bread that they should do this with, I've seen them do it with a hot dog bun or a dinner roll. So if they forget to bring the bread, and often they do, they still may want to do this prayer, and any bread will do, including a cracker if they must.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And there's something more than the blessing over the wine. It's not just toasting. There's actually a specific prayer that they do over the wine, and it's separate from the bread. They may do one or both or neither, but you should be prepared for both, just in case. I don't know if I saw Siman Tov and Mazel Tov, but you should have that song.
Okay.
Just do a word search at some point. It's Simon, next word Tov, Tov. So it's Siman Tov and then Mazel Tov, Mazol Tov, 2 words. Tov is the second word, and that's a song. And there are a variety of different variations upon that song, but it is a congratulations song. You can, bless you, you can play it at any time. If you have different versions, you can play an instrumental version at this time and a vocal version at another time. They never get enough of it.
Okay.
I don't know if I see it here, but there's also a traditional folk dance that's quasi klezmer, but that's really popular, and it's called Zemer Atik. And I'd have to see if I can get the spelling for you. I think it's Zemer. Here it is. It is Zemer, next word, Atik, Atik. And it's a really fun song where they do this dance and they do a clap to it. It's not like a line dance, but it's that kind of popularity. And even though it's old, it's carried over to younger generations who are in the faith, and they should know it. So I would definitely add that to your list of things. If you must play Havan, I don't even think she has Havan Nagila here, which is the very, very old traditional Hora song. If she doesn't have it here, don't play it.
Okay.
Because she probably doesn't want it. And these others, which are probably more modern, will cover and carry the day for you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else I can answer or do for you?
Let me just take a look through my notes. Right, that may be everything, but let me see if there's anything I missed here. Oh, that Beshert. How do you spell that?
Beshert. See, make me look it up. Beshert.
Okay. What does that mean?
It means destiny, soulmate. It was meant to be.
Okay.
All of that rolled into one, wrapped into one.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, one thing that was unusual here to me is bride enters cocktail. hour. This is before a ceremony, and I'm basically doing a grand entrance. So I've got a song. I don't know if I guess I need to clarify this with her. I don't know if she
Is it
wants
just
to
her? Is it just her arriving?
I
Or is
think
he with her?
so. I think this is just her walking into the room. No wedding party though. There is no wedding party.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with this idea, but it sounds like a reveal, if you will, for
Yeah.
her to the guests. And
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, is it just double check to find out if he's in the area and if he's supposed to see her before the wedding, or if not. Obviously, he's going to see her before because they're signing the Bedeckin. They're signing the Ketubah. So they're
Okay.
doing that whole thing. So, but again, still check.
Yeah.
Where is he when she comes in? Is he with her? Is it just her? Is he watching her come in and she joins him? There are all kinds of choreographical things that can happen in that moment.
Yeah.
But I'm not familiar with that. So
Okay.
it may be a she thing. In other words, it's something she wants to do. Is she a drama girl, drama queen?
I don't know her very well, so
You will after this.
yeah. Another thing that was unusual here is for the grand entrance into reception. No last name. They just want me to say Vince and Rachel.
That is actually not. I mean, I guess maybe Tennessee wise, it might be uncommon, but it's not uncommon where I come from. Lots of couples skipping the last name and they're just their first names.
Yeah.
Just like that. But a lot of times when you have a form and they write something down, it's only because they didn't know better or they didn't know what the options were.
Yeah.
So it sometimes is good to ask, okay, so you want to be introduced as Vincent and Rachel. Is that correct? You don't want to be Mr. and Mrs. or Mr. and Mrs. Vincent and then she said, oh, I didn't think about those things. Yeah, let's do it that way.
Yeah.
Or she may turn around and simply say, no, we're not doing last names. It's just Vincent and Rachel.
Yeah,
but at least
that is
you'll
what she
know.
said. Yeah, I did actually clarify that. So
Okay, good. And it's only coincidence that I used earlier in an example, Rachel. I did not know that the bride's name was Rachel.
oh yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't think I have any other specific questions for you. So
Okay. Well, the nice thing with me is you can double dip. So please feel free to come back and say, well, but after I spoke with them, they said this, I got confused about that. You mentioned, I'm happy to help.
Okay, there's a very good chance of that, but I don't want to take advantage of your time or anything. So
it's totally my pleasure. My goal is you having a successful celebration with your client.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you taking the time to help me with all of this. It's intimidating going into it, but it's really helpful to have to have some guidance in it. So
when is the actual wedding?
It's soon. It's February 13th.
Oh, you've got a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You'll be great. Have
Yeah.
a super time, and please feel free to call anytime.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Craig.